calm down, quiet down. I feel like a school teacher. It's time to call to order the special meeting of the City Council and Audit and Finance Advisory Committee, Tuesday, April 23rd at 5:30. We do have a quorum. Corey, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith?
Here.
Stevens?
Here.
Reed?
Here.
Brown?
Here.
Pritchard?
Here.
Mayor?
Here. Our first item tonight is swearing-in ceremony. Judge Deborah Hackler will administer the oath of office to newly appointed council member of Ward 5, Maureen Harrison. So if you would stand up and
Great. So, not quite so close.
She's-
I learned that in corrections. I'm so sorry. Raise your right hand. I, Maureen Harrison,
I, Maureen Harrison,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey, and defend
obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not
and that I will not
knowingly receive,
knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money
any money
or other valuable thing
or other valuable things
for the performance
for the performance
or non-performance
or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office,
pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation
other than the compensation
allowed by law.
allowed by law.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
my duties
my duties
as Ward 5 Councilwoman
as Ward 5 Councilwoman
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You'll sign right here.
well, while you're signing, I want to welcome you and very much looking forward to working with you. And
Thank you so much.
if anyone else in the council has any remarks, this would be the time to make them.
Ms. Harrison, congratulations. You will get a well-rounded education up here, I can tell you that.
I already have, I had a briefcase that I needed somebody to help carry.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much,
doing
sir.
this.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm just going
Your
to
seat.
have a seat.
You're here. It's your spot. You earned it. The heat comes with it.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Harrison, I'm going to apologize right now because I am going to call you Councilman Harrison at some point in time.
Oh,
I have
well, I'll
no doubt-
accept that for the
No
moment.
doubt of that. So, do you have anything that you want to say?
Yes, I would. First of all, I give honor to the Lord, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for an opportunity to serve the city of McAlester in Ward 5. And I'd also like to acknowledge my daughter, Shalandra, my little grandson, my other daughter, Monica, for their support and encouragement, because this 11th month time frame will go into, will kind of cut into our family time. And so I appreciate the sacrifice they're giving to that end. I want to thank the mayor and the council for giving me this a chance to serve not only the city, but Ward 5. And also I would like to thank the original candidates for running a clean campaign. There wasn't any scrap about them talking about each other or any of that. So even though it didn't turn out the way that some of us expected, I think they ran a clean campaign. And so I give them an accolade for that. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to scheduled business. We have a workshop discussion of fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. This is in conjunction with the Audit and Finance Committee, and Mr. Stasiak?
Mayor, members of the council, 2 weeks ago, we presented the preliminary budget. That budget included a balanced budget. It also met the minimum requirements of 10% in our emergency fund. We went through in detail, along with the PowerPoint, the information that was presented in the budget. We are hoping that you've had an opportunity to take a look at it, dive into it, and ask any questions that you have of the staff. We are all here and available to answer any questions that you may have.
I'll just start with Councilman Smith. Jim? Vice Mayor Stevens? Councilman Reed? No? Councilman Brown? Councilwoman Harrison?
Well, in light of not knowing the previous information, I haven't had a chance to review it. I'll just have to abstain.
Councilman Pritchard? No.
Okay, so let me recap.
Well, I have one.
Oh, okay.
It's not so much a question as a statement. There is a 2% cost of living for all employees in this budget.
Correct.
So we are getting to give the employees something, and I don't think we've been able to do that for a year or so. We've done bonus type payments, but we haven't done an actual raise in a while, have we?
Mayor, last year we were able to give a 3% cost of living increase, and that was the first time we were able to do that in, I believe, 3 years. So last year was a pivotal year for us.
Right. Okay.
The city is doing well.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, I'll turn it back over to you then.
Just to kind of recap, because we have a few minutes here, and I won't speak very long because I think you want to ask the audit and finance also. We are projecting about a $200,000 increase in our sales tax in the upcoming year. We're also projecting almost a $700,000 increase in our use tax. That is based on the development on 14th Street and the use tax that will be associated with that. If we need to adjust anything, we can adjust those very quickly. Just to recap the departments, about $1.136 million in our streets department, about $1.448 million in community services to include our parks, swimming pools, recreation, and cemetery. Administration and planning, which is city council, city manager, finance, city clerk, municipal court, legal, IT, planning, and human resources, $2.3 million. Our police, public safety, as you're aware, is instrumental to this city and our organization. The police budget is just a little bit under $4 million in the upcoming year, and our fire budget is $3.3 million. We are projecting an increase in our water sales in the upcoming year of about $100,000. Our district water sales is minimal, about $20,000. Sewer projections is about $100,000 increase, and our garbage is flat, basically the same. I know I'm just kind of going over this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to take a question on something.
Absolutely. Any questions that you have?
Well, last year I think we demolished 40 dilapidated properties.
Probably.
Yeah, it's in that area, 40 or 50. And we are not going to be able to do anywhere near that this year, are we?
We are not. We will be cutting that budget back to the $25,000 to $35,000 range, maybe $50,000. I mean, we were, I can't remember the exact amount we spent last year, but it was a large dollar amount.
Yeah, I know we probably did more last year than has ever been done, would be my guess.
We
But
did.
we did get a very good feedback from the public on that.
Good.
So maybe when we do the mid-year budget review, if there's if we're doing well, we can maybe add to that.
Areas of importance, the city continues to fund a lot of outside organizations to the tune of almost $300,000. Those include the Sunbelt Classic, Pittsburgh County Child Advocacy, OIL, Oklahoma for Independent Living, our Defense Consultant Services, McAlester Defense Services Association, MDSS, our Main Street program, Pride in McAlester, OML membership, and our Pittsburgh County Emergency Management. In addition to those agencies, we are also continuing to fund our nutrition program, which is our senior nutrition program. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I believe we are now delivering about 100. We're serving about 100, 110 a day at the Stipe Center, and we are delivering about 40 a day.
116.
116 a day? Okay, I was a little off. A lot of meals to continue to support those seniors. Yes,
I have a question about that child advocacy
Yes.
center. I know we had that on the agenda tonight for a special purchase kind of thing.
yes, sir.
Why do you have it on in next year's budget?
Why do I have it?
Yeah.
Because this is a projection based on any of the conversations we have in here.
So we project that they're going to come back for another $4,500 next year.
Okay, hold on. No, this is the budget for July the 1st, 2019.
I understand.
Okay.
Understand. But this is on tonight's agenda.
A new
To give
request.
them $4,500 tonight.
Effective July the 1st. It will not be funded until July the 1st. Everything that we are doing, Pride and
So
McAlester.
This special deal is it's not for money to get right now. It's for
It
the
is.
next fiscal year.
It is not, Councilman. It is July 1st for next fiscal year. Along with Pride, I believe there's Pittsburgh County Emergency Management, McAlester Main Street. Those are all for
I
the.
understand that. I mean, we do that every year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, I want to say something about the senior program. Am I the only one that can is qualified up here? But I think it's a great program, and I hear a lot from the seniors there. And well, I tell you what, the city is doing a great service for people with that program.
Does the hospital do that as well?
I think-
Meals on Wheels
We took over their program.
took it over.
Yes.
They just don't do it.
Theirs had dwindled down to about 30 a day. And
Listen to all the volunteers. They just-
so we took that over and took the funding.
Yeah, so we're not being redundant.
No, sir.
Council Pritchard.
So I don't know if this is more of a comment than a question. And really outside of this kind of what we currently have proposed as a budget, but you know, we talked a little bit about this and kind of the CIP conversation, but you know, if we really believe that we've got somewhere around $900 billion infrastructure funding gap, and this budget spending $1.3 million on our streets and I don't know what on the water and sewer systems, but not very much either. I mean, how do we as a community begin to address that need? I mean, we haven't, you know, as best I can tell from looking at past budgets, we haven't. We're not going to in this proposed budget. And if we just continually, you know, keep not addressing this, we're falling, you know, $20-30 million a year further into the hole. And so, I mean, I don't expect anybody to have an answer at this council meeting, but that's something that as we're considering adopting this budget and this capital improvement plan at the meeting later tonight, like we need to begin to think about where, if we can even come up with that kind of money on an annual basis to, you know, fix the physical condition of our infrastructure out there as it exists right now. So that's not really a question.
But it's a great comment because we've heard this coming from this desk for quite some time now. I think I reported at the last council meeting that we were going to start working on our replacement costs. We have started working on replacement costs for the city. I can tell you that just vehicles alone, it's going to take $10 million every 10 years to replace every vehicle here at the city of McAlester. So on an annual basis, you're looking at $1 million a year. Just the equipment here at the city is another $9 to $10 million. So just vehicles and equipment, we're talking $2 million a year. That's if you replace it over a 10-year cycle. Some of these things wear out a lot faster in 10 years. But to put it into perspective, we were running some numbers, and we have $1.5 million in police vehicles. We have 3 fire engines sitting at 3 fire stations, well in excess of $1.5 million. That's not any of the ancillary equipment, which you're talking about $550,000 in ambulances, 3 ambulances. All of the equipment that takes to service those departments. So you're looking at about $20 million worth of replacement of equipment every 10 years. We are just now diving into the infrastructure side, okay, which we all know is a huge number. But it is our intent to come back, hopefully in the next 2 or 3 months, and be able to give you hard figures and ideas of what we need to do with fees, licenses, taxes, whatever it is we need to do in order to move this city forward, and at what rate we can move it forward, and what we feel that rate needs to be. So we are working on this diligently right now.
And if I can, as a follow-up, I'm glad to hear you're doing that. And I think it's really going to be important for this council to have a grasp of what that number is. Because, you know, when I think about my duty, my role on this council and representing the people of my ward, is we have either got to come up with a plan to fund those improvements, or, and it's probably or, we've got to come up with a plan to reduce our costs. You know, and like I said, it's probably going to be both. We're probably going to have to increase some funding, which is, I don't know how popular that's going to be, and we're probably going to have to reduce our costs. And I don't know how popular that's going to have to be. And you know, the staff and the Audit and Finance Committee have done a good job preparing this budget, and it's balanced, and I understand all that. But the truth is that as long as we continue to, and I'm glad, you know, city managers, you know, not doing this, but as long as we continue to not fund these deferred maintenance things, the city is going to continue to physically deteriorate. And so I'm glad you're looking into it.
Hey, Pete, Mr. City Manager, how many vehicles do we own total? Do you know, or is that something for?
I believe vehicles, which we talk about, pickups, cars, those type of things, not heavy equipment.
Okay.
I believe it's about 190 vehicles.
And we have fleet insurance on those?
We do. Anything over 5 years has liability insurance. Anything under 5 years is fully insured.
Okay. And we do lease purchase a lot of these things.
We have, over the last couple of years, we've gotten into purchases over a period of time. In the past, we tried to pay cash for everything we did. That was just not feasible.
Yeah, I understand that. Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor,
Ready to turn it over to Audit Finance?
that's kind of the highlights.
Can I have one more question? Pete, when you're looking at this, and we'll speak to Councilman Pritchard's kind of statement there, and then what you were saying back, and I know that me and you have had these discussions too, and things as well. How big of a role do improvements in local community things, so far as businesses, local nonprofits that are here, and then recruiting in businesses, how would you rate that importance to tackling that kind of stuff?
It's highly important. I mean, it's the future of this community, is to grow this community. Without that growth, we're just going to continue down the same path we're on today. Okay? That's all areas of the community. That's your employment levels, that's employers, that's your shopping, everything that has to do with this community in order to grow the community. It's all a piece of it. That kind of answer it?
That answers my question. The more I think about it, and to speak to his point too, and things that we've done as a council since I've been here, I know that this council, and I know city staff, and especially economic development, is constantly looking to recruit here. And I know that there's an eye that's being turned towards what can we do to build and maintain that we have here. We just recently saw a pretty large employer get lost out of this community.
Correct.
You know, and I don't think anybody in McAlester was happy about that, especially not anybody on this council. I know that for sure. But I would think that as we continue to go forward too, maybe the idea of maintaining what we have and then growing what we have could play more of a role of importance. And I'm not saying it doesn't now. Please don't take it that way. I'm just saying that that's something maybe as a councilman I need to start thinking more clearly about as well too.
Councilman, that's a good point. The loss of those 55 jobs of web code is extremely important to this community, but I also want to bring you back to where we were 5 or 7 years ago, okay? That base is at its 800 jobs, okay? And they're still looking for 200 more positions. Spirit Aero Systems has added 100 jobs. Choctaw Defense is growing. They're finishing that 22 ammunition plant. That's 95 new jobs by the end of this year, and they're hiring engineers right now. Look what we were able to do with Krebs Brewing. That is an important piece of this entire puzzle. That's another 30, 35 jobs in our community. We continue to look internally, and I think that's why it's so important that when you guys funded the Small Business Administration, and having that expert for small business in our community is pivotal. It's instrumental to how we grow this community, because if you talk to anybody outside the community in the Department of Commerce, they will tell you that 85% of all jobs created in a community are created internally with existing businesses. That is a huge number, and that's where we need to be focused, is on our businesses here in this community.
Good to hear.
Anyone else? Mr. Gillett, do you want to say anything from Audit Finance?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, we found the budget to be incredibly reasonable.
We're on TV, so you gotta.
Okay.
No, we find it very reasonable, even though we've got this level of prosperity. I think we're adding 1.5 jobs, a full-time converting a part-time to a full-time. The reserve fund is in excess of what's required by the city charter. And compared to 4, 5, 6 years ago, this is a fun budget. So that's about all I've got. Any questions?
Thank you.
Oh, I've got one question. On the Webcoat, the 55 people that lost their jobs, how much revenue did that generate for the city?
Well, those are labor dollars.
Okay.
And, I don't know what Webcoat's hourly rate of pay was or what type of benefit packages they had, but it kind of boils down to what their disposable income was over and what their basic needs were. They were spending money at our grocery stores. They were buying clothing. They were buying shoes. They were spending money in our community. So yeah, it does have an impact on what's happening around here. On the flip side of it is we are creating a lot of jobs too. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Stasiak, I'll let you wind it up.
Just one last comment, if I could. Councilman, you made reference to $1.3 million in the street budget. That is for maintenance. Those are all maintenance items. In conjunction with that, we have $2,230,000. And here again, I applaud this council for doing what you did and getting us that sales tax money. $2,230,000 for infrastructure that's spread between street reconstruction, concrete panel replacement, asphalt overlays, crack sealing, our water lines, sewer lines, lift stations, and maintenance on some of our buildings. So that's where that $2.23 million is spent. In addition, we also have about $870,000 annually in the upcoming budget for stormwater and stormwater improvements. We're going to be presenting the stormwater master plan in the next 30 to 60 days. That outlines about $25 million worth of improvements that need to be made in our stormwater system. But here again, we have $870,000 annually to spend on those stormwater improvements. So those are all pluses. Those are things we didn't have a couple of years ago. So a little over $3 million.
For the public, I'm sorry, for the public's sake, when you say storm waters, what kind of projects are developed from that revenue? Or can you say?
What kind of projects? These are maintenance, basically maintenance projects or improvements, areas that we know that are flooding. Okay, we want to be able to improve that infrastructure to be able to handle those storms, those storm events, anything that may be collapsing. We're working on Indiana right now in a 3 or 4 block area. And the reason we're there is because that stormwater system is collapsing. It's underground. It's probably 30 or 40 years old. And so we're replacing that right now.
I had a guy ask me about that. I'm glad you explained it.
There's a whole list of
Projects.
things. Yeah, and a lot of what's being done now is stuff that is causing damage. Uh-oh. I bragged before this meeting started
Nobody's
that
phone.
we had not had anybody's phone.
I
I
have a quick
I
question.
put that, that's on me. Yep, Councilwoman Harrison.
I have a quick question. Are these city employees that are working on this project, or these outside contractors? Who are the people that are working on these systems?
These are contracts with
Like
outside.
bids?
Yes, oh yes, we go out for requests for proposals and bids
All right,
and award, this council actually awards those contracts.
all right.
We prepare everything for you to help you make that decision, and then they award, you guys award the contract.
Thank you.
Anybody got anything else? Take a motion to adjourn.
So
Motion, Councilman Smith, second, Councilman Reed. Any discussion? Corey, would you call the roll, please?
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Brown,
yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Pritchard,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, the motion carries, and we will, at 6:00, convene our regular meeting.
We got 5 minutes.
All
Then we'll
right.
start
Say
regular
my
meeting.
hi.
So you wanna take
Pictures.
All right.
What can I say?
Ms. Harrison,
Yes.
that was a good question.